What is with the soundtrack? Hi everyone, I'm going to react to Bungo Stray Dogs episode season 2 episode 4 Bungo Stray Dogs. Huh? Wow. Is that how? Oh no, is that how this episode gonna tell us exactly why they named this show? This show? I don't know. I guess we'll see. Last episode, the way that episode ended, man, with all that, like all those kids that he's been looking after, just like and him being pushed now to fight back and kill that Jade person, Jido, whatever his name is. That really sucked. So that's what happened last episode. And before we get into this one, if you guys have my reaction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you want to see my reaction to the next episode, you can do so by checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/feelmini. And now let's start this episode, and here we go. Sorry for not talking much about this episode, but it's like the way the episode started, you didn't really leave room for talking. You know, them showing you all these kids, him calling out the names and saying goodnight, may you rest in peace. Like, it just brought everything that I felt at the end of last episode back, and I was just like down. And I kept saying that I felt like these episodes were gonna show us what pushed Dazai to leave the Port Mafia and join the armed agency, you know, and that's exactly what happened. I just hated that it came at the expense of Oda, you know, Oda's death, but it makes sense, you know, when they started these flashback stories, these episodes. Oda was the one narrating everything that was happening. And then he said, when they took that picture, that one of them died. And at first I thought it was going to be Bungo because he disappeared. But as the story was being played out, I could feel that it was heading toward Oda dying instead, you know, because he's always been about not killing anybody. And then you have this mimic group that showed up, and then they killed the kids just to push him to face them, go back to him killing, because clearly he used to kill, and then he stopped after he met Natsume Soseki, right? Who might have been the author of the books that he was reading that didn't really have anything, you know, because he has the same name as the author, so he might have been the author of the book. And this person was the one that pushed him to stop killing. And now that he went back to killing, and like, you could tell this is not gonna end well for him, you know, especially with the fact that this person, Jid, the person that he's facing, also has the same ability as him. You know, you can tell that it was gonna end with his death. And then that was confirmed when he ran into Rumpo, you know, on his way there to go meet Jid and to go to the headquarters of Mimic, you know, and he used his ability ultra deduction, and he told him not to go where he's going or he's gonna die. And yeah, that was sort of like if you weren't sure in the beginning, like if there was a slight hope in you that he was gonna make it through it, the fact that Rumpo said that, you know, that last bitty hope is gone. And I also loved, and he also felt sad, you know, when Dazai met him outside. I feel like it was outside the house, the restaurant, or wherever, where the kids died and everything blew up, and Dazai was gonna try to convince him not to go, you know, and he was gonna go anyway, and then he turned around, and Dazai was about to reach out and stop him, and then he missed. It just brought me back to when it was the other way around. Oda was the one that was trying to stop Dazai, and then he stepped away from him. Oh, my heart. And the fact that, okay, you also had this meeting with Bungo and the leader of the Special Ops Division and the leader of the Port Mafia. They were there. They were having this meeting, and Bungo was like, two conditions. One, basically, you're gonna let me go. You're not gonna retaliate against me, because he was a special ops agent, right? And then he infiltrated the Port Mafia, so he didn't. They don't want retaliation against Bungo. And then the second thing is, you're gonna get rid of Mimic. And he's like, okay, well, so what's in it for me? He's really okay with the first one, but then the second one, And then this guy, there was this black envelope thing on the desk, and I'm like, what exactly is that? And it's basically the gifted business license that that dude that was after Sushi, that wanted the president to give up their permit. It's basically the same thing. That's what it felt like. I'm trying to remember who exactly got that permit for the president. I don't know what they were saying. All these names, no, not all these names. Okay, this when they said the author's name, and then I don't know. For some reason, I thought there was going to be a connection between the person that got the permit for the president and this person that counseled Oda into not killing and everything. I don't know why I thought that, but yeah. So that's what he was. He wanted the business permit from the Special Ops Division, and apparently he's the one that set everything up to make that happen. Like the leader of the Port Mafia, he helped Mimic get into the country. He told Gide what basically Oda's Achilles heel was, and it was the children. Told them what the children were, and he was basically behind everything so that the special ops would be basically indebted to him and give him this permit in return for getting rid of Mimic, who he's the one that brought Mimic in the first place. So it's like he's basically the author of Oda's death, And when Dazai went to see him, and he's like, oh, like he doesn't really come to see him personally. So he's like, okay, what can I do for you? And he's like, okay, I want a group of gifted individuals to go and help bring Oda back. And at first he was like, okay. But then once Dazai figured out exactly, when he saw the black envelope, and then he figured exactly what that was, and he made all the proper connections and everything. Now, the leader didn't want to let him go. I'm not exactly sure why though, but probably because since Oda Sake is the only one that can get rid of the Mimic and the leaders and everything, I guess he didn't want Dazai to mess that up for him, I guess. But I love when Dazai was like, you're not gonna kill me because one, this, and two, this. Or first, because one, there's not thing in it for you. And what was the second thing? I don't remember. And at one point, the leader asked Dazai, like, why do you want to go there if it's not gonna change the situation or something. I don't know. He's my friend. He's his friend, man, and he wanted to go, and he didn't want him to die, but he didn't get there fast enough. And like I'm just like these mimic people. I understand that their country basically betrayed them, and turned them into enemies and all of that. But I'm sorry. You don't kill these little kids just because you want someone else to kill you. You want to die in a war situation, and because of that you go and kill these kids. Like, no, I'm sorry. But no. Mm-mm. And I'm also not quite sure exactly what that singularity thing is supposed to mean. I don't know if I'm the one just dumb enough not to get it. When Jade and Udasako were fighting, and then there was the one point where it's like, oh, so this is what Ango meant when he talked about the singularity, about these gifted people that have sort of had the same ability facing each other. I'm not really sure what that was. What was that? What exactly happened during their fight that made him like, oh, so this is what it is? But I don't get it. And they were facing each other. They can read each other's moves, and it's like everything the other guy wants to do, the other guy knows what's coming, so he can find some other way, and then you also gonna find out. I'm like, how the heck are y'all gonna be able to defeat each other? And then like the only way to defeat each other is to fight each other without using our abilities. So I guess that's what they were doing, even though it didn't really seem like that's what they were doing. It still felt like they were still predicting each other's moves. So I'm not sure if they were using their abilities at that point, or if it's just they were that good and they I guess know who the other person was, and they can basically imagine how the other person is gonna react in a particular situation. And that's why the fight was going along like as if they were still using their abilities. That's just what it felt like to me. They might not have been, but it felt like that to me. But then at the end there, they shot each other, and Dazai came in, basically at the end there, and Dazai, before Odasake went to go meet Jade, Dazai told him, he's like, do you know why I joined the Port Mafia? And he's like, no. And then he's like, he basically was hoping to find the reason for his existence, I guess, when he joined the Port Mafia. And now that Odasake is dying, and then his last words to him were like, I know what you told me, but you're not gonna find it there. And you're not gonna I think he told him that Dazai usually doesn't really care about good and evil, and he told him whether the organization that he joins, whatever side he's on, whether it's good or evil, the answer, he's not gonna really be able to find the answer to the hole that's in his heart, but it's better for him to be on the side that saves lives instead of the bad side. And he's like, okay, how do you know? He's like, because I know you, and because you're my friend. And he's like, okay. Basically, he left the Port Mafia because that's his friend's wish, for him to be on the side of good. And yeah, so his friend died, and as he was dying, he basically unraveled the things that was covering the one eye. What was that thing on his eye again? I feel like it was on his eye throughout these 4 episodes. He had how about say bandana? It's not bandana. How do you call those things again? No, those coverings. I feel like he had it all the way throughout these 4 episodes. And it was when Odasake was dying that that fell from his eye, and we see the Dazai that we know now, And then after Odasaki died, it was like 2 weeks later, he showed up where the leader of the special ops was, and then he asked him, basically he told him that he wanted to change his life. He wanted to join something that's on the side of good. He didn't want to join the special ops. And then that's when he told him about the agency, and that the president was a good person, but that because of all the things that he's done, he needed to go underground for like 2 years or something. And then once he comes back, then he can join up with them, I guess. So yeah, but how does him being underground for 2 years, and did they wipe his story? Did the special ops division wiped his background or something to give him sort of like a clean slate before he came back and joined the agency? Even if that's the case, why would this special ops person help him, knowing he was part of the Port Mafia? Was there something that, did they make some kind of deal? Because I don't really see why he would want to help Dazai if there wasn't anything in it for him. Or maybe Bungo put in a good word, because he could have killed. Last episode, Bungo was gonna go, right? And then Dazai is like, what makes you think you're gonna leave here alive? And he's like, okay, but go before I change my mind. So he could have killed Bungo, but he didn't, because Bungo was his friend. And I don't know. I feel there has to be a reason why this person helped him get in contact with the agency. I don't know. So yeah. Well, that's that. And Dazai is the person that we know now. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this reaction, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and if you want to see my reaction to the next episode, you can do so by checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/filmy, and you can also see the full for this reaction there as well. So thanks for watching, I will see you next time. Bye.